अबे आदर,
Yeah.
तूने ये हियरिंग एड की तरह क्यों पहना हेडफोन?
These are, so I had to buy a good pair of wired headphones, and these are the best for live stage performance. So they go straight into your amp,
Yes. Okay.
the wireless transmitter, and then that's why. And when you're on stage, they'll never come off because you need this. This is a very musician thing. So I was like, okay, I'm
But
gonna
what
get
about
you're
aesthetic,
wearing-
Aadar?
so you're
What about
wearing-
aesthetic?
So you're wearing in-ears to record a podcast that goes on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm also wearing a mic. Which is my whole setup is technically cheaper than what you guys have in one Yeti, except that I can travel around with it and actually.
Also, your whole setup is from 2050, man. Fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Why are you wearing
Kafi
in-ears,
mast-
dude?
it's easier for me to. It's a better. मेरे को वो नहीं हो
But
रहा.
I
Also,
agree.
couldn't do
I agree with.
wireless.
I agree with Aadar.
Varun,
I
तू
couldn't do
थोड़ा
wireless.
पीछे जा. Varun,
Yeah,
I agree with Aadar.
Oh my. We just lost our
Or
entire viewership
I
on
could
that
just
one
do a
sentence.
second.
Don't go, guys.
Is this better? I've got two mics now. I can just today I'm going to do two mics.
Welcome to another episode of Aadar Shows of Tech.
don't
On
do
this
that,
episode,
Aadar, because I
he's
anyway,
wearing
Guys,
two mics
आज हम
and
लोग
his grandmother's
रिव्यू
earphones.
करने वाले हैं. आज हम लोग रिव्यू करने वाले हैं ये वंडरफुल माइक. ये वायरलेस माइक है जो आपके सी टाइप
Aadar,
पोर्टेबल
don't
चार्जर
do
में
two
जाता है.
mics because I DT it. So don't do two mics.
तो चालू करें.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Internet Said So, a show we take admission videos of facts, sensitive, and personal stories, and we talk about them. And today's topic is very close to all of us because we are a part of the topic.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
as you guys who are listening and watching and sharing and liking and commenting and pressing the bell icon are.
And the people who are not sharing and liking and watching, still
Them
watching,
also.
whatever, them also.
Yeah. And the topic is population. Population.
How you
तुम
pull
लोग-
that off?
तुम लोगों ने सुना कि नहीं रिसेंटली, मतलब हमारे पॉडकास्ट पे हमने 4 हफ्ते पहले बोला था कि वर्ल्ड का पॉपुलेशन 8 बिलियन हो चुका है. इसी बात पे तालियां, अर्थ के लिए
Yeah.
तालियां, अर्थ के लिए तालियां. एंड द
Earth
सर्च
ने क्या किया है इसमें?
झेल रही है अपने आप को, हमको अर्थ. ठीक है, इतना प्लास्टिक, इतना पोल्यूशन, सब जो अपन कर रहे हैं, अर्थ झेल रही है. तो अर्थ के लिए हो जिस
Varun, I have a challenge for you.
कि मैं पूरा एपिसोड
All P sounds have to be fur sounds. Whole episode. All P
Oh.
sounds.
वो फर को
that's
फर
a-
बोलता है.
अरे फक्का बोल रहा हूँ ना, फक्का बोल के दिखाऊं.
That's a tough one though. That's a tough one. Shit. And listen, okay, here's the thing. Okay, if
Every
you're
time
listening
Varun
to this,
misses it.
yeah, please
Comment.
put a time code and let us know where
Yes.
Varun has fucked up.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the P sound is.
Yeah.
You will have to. It doesn't matter where in the word it is.
But by the way, talking about this,
So
guys,
it has to be
firstly,
procrastinate.
yeah, wow, very good. No, what I'm trying to say is, like, I love how we give all our test public, like, आज guys ये करो जाके, guys
हाँ,
आज
क्या-
इधर जाके वो करो, आज ये करो, और तुम लोग करते भी हो और बहुत मजा आता है because this is although 2 weeks later, but what you guys did
Yeah.
during the Milind Soman मिलिंद सोमन के कमेंट्स पे पूरा भरा पड़ा है कि मिलिंद, we really like you, but this centers here. Your open challenge to participate in marathon this Sabless.
You know,
उसका
the thing
पूरा
is,
spam कर दिया है मिलिंद.
the thing is,
Milind
we
No,
don't get
man.
too many guests, but Milind is definitely not being one.
Yeah,
Apparently he's
not coming.
deleting. He's
definitely-
deleting. And not only are they doing it
Oh.
on Instagram, they're doing it on Twitter. I got tagged on Twitter also. तो मिलिंद सोमन बोल रहा था भागते भागते मेरे को नोटिफिकेशन आ रहा है, किधर किधर जाऊं मैं, क्या करूं. But anyway, coming back to population, the topic. Kautuk and I had quite a bit of a debate before we recorded, and that is India number one or is China number one in
India?
population?
Oh,
Dude, we did
गलत
it.
चीज के लिए शेयर कर रहा है.
We did it. Dude, according to a
We
bunch
will.
of...
Yeah.
No, a bunch of... So, for example, livemint.com. So, this was around 17th or 18th Jan this year. We surpassed China to
Yeah.
become the most populated country. Now, the thing is, the reason it's a little here or there is because these things are obviously not very easy
Accurate
to get down to the exact, this was the baby that did it.
Right.
No, I think I saw an article that said some baby in India was the one who did it.
Okay, great.
No,
so
no,
we
no.
know.
So there's also,
One baby. We're blaming the one baby.
no, also it can't be.
ये पैदा नहीं होता तो अपन कंट्रोल में होते.
Yes.
ये साला बच्चा पैदा हुआ सीधा अपन.
बट मेरे 9 दादाजी और 9 दादी जी वो तो सही है.
One sec, where is the feather?
Hey.
प्लीज यार,
Please.
ऐसे करेंगे तो बार बार फॉर्स करना पड़ेगा अपने को एपिसोड को यार.
You said that you'll do it, but now you have to do it.
बोला उसने लेकिन.
हाँ, but तूने फायदा नहीं बोला तो let's
मैं एक बार हगा लेकिन देखो 3 और दिया ना.
go. Agreed.
हाँ.
So
Oh God,
no,
this
by the
great
way, the other problem is there's a lot of births and deaths in our country especially that go unnoticed, right? Like things simply because of like they're really in remote villages, stuff like that. People are not reporting it and things like that. So there's a lot of that also that happens. So suspicion is that just on pure not empirical data, there's a chance that
Empirical.
that we have surpassed them a while ago.
Yeah, and also by the way, so the other reason we
we
surpassed
don't
them,
all have to
I can't
do
do
it.
it. I can't do it.
Yeah, we
Uh,
all
the
don't
other
have
reason-
Precipitation.
we surpassed them was because for the first time China's population is declining since 1960,
Yes.
and to the point where they have gone from 1-child policy to 3-child policy. So one full reverse swing has happened. It's a very interesting time.
सब कंफ्यूज होंगे ब्रो. 60s में एक ही बच्चा, एक से ज्यादा मैं मार दूंगा, और अभी उसको बोल रहे तू 3 नहीं किया ना तो मार. तो पब्लिक की भाई क्या.
So this exact problem, now what's really cool about this particular topic is that the world has always fluctuated. It's a seesaw where the world has always fluctuated between encouraging people to have more babies and trying to control people from having
discouraging.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is this is not even new. So I'll tell you one factoid I found on the internet. There is a whole page called Human Population Management on Wikipedia. One topic under that talks about, and this is how old this topic is, talks about Chanakya,
Oh
And-
wow.
his ideas on population control. Now, this is back in the day.
जब भी 12,000 लोग थे
Exactly.
तभी सोच लिया कि नहीं 1 चाइल्ड पॉलिसी चलेगा. अभी ठीक है, अपन 1200 है, अभी 1500 हो जाएगा तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा.
But
1500.
अरे
ये आगे नहीं जाएगा एपिसोड फिर.
I think Thakur just surrender. Just hold up.
I
both your
lose.
hands. Yeah.
I lose. हाँ, चल, हाँ.
So Chanakya's whole thing was, and he's talking about this in the about between 3 and 200 BC. Okay, back then fewer people, but yet, and obviously back then populations used to also be ravaged by more disease, more wars, all of that stuff. So according to him, to rule well in a particular state, it was always better to err on the side of having more people than fewer people. Because you could always use more people in war efforts, in economic efforts, in agriculture
Right.
efforts, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So his whole thing was to encourage people. He was willing to go against social norms as well. So he was like, widow remarriage was a taboo topic, but he's like, you know what? Let's encourage it because we need more people. So he had a whole bunch of these things that were there to do that. And oddly enough, all of these things worked so well that by the time we were growing up in India, I don't think you could escape hearing this thing कि हमारा population बहुत ज़्यादा है,
Yeah.
which was true. And my feeling is that you can chart every single problem in India to some degree to population, right?
All problems. I think all problems. तू किधर भी जा, आगे राइट मार, लेफ्ट मार, तू गोल घूम के पॉपुलेशन पे ही आएगा. आएगा. अरे एजुकेशन यहाँ क्योंकि हमारे पास 1.5 बिलियन है. अरे ये नहीं है क्योंकि हाँ हमारे पास 1. अरे बहुत पोल्यूशन है, हाँ 1.5 बिलियन. हर एक चीज. सर लेट हो गया सर, पॉपुलेशन 1.5 बिलियन है, सॉरी मैं आज मीटिंग पे थोड़ा लेट हो गया उसके वजह से.
Because all the 1.5 billion are on SV road at the same time.
Yes. Yes. साले सब. मैं बिलीव ब्रो, मेरे को उस दिन अंधेरी से बैंड्रा शाम के 7 बजे निकला हूं मैं घर से महबूब स्टूडियो तक. ठीक है गाइस, हु आर नॉट फ्रॉम बॉम्बे, इट इज 16 किलोमीटर्स एंड टू एंड. ठीक है, गेस करो कितना टाइम लगा.
1.5 घंटा.
2.5.
कौतुक में हाथ पे नहीं चल के जा रहा था अपने के
No, 1.5 घंटा
I
is
meant 10
reasonable.
only, sorry.
ना तेरा ना इसका 2 घंटा 4 मिनट टू बी एग्जैक्ट
But one sec, Varun,
और
that's not
16
even,
kilometers.
that's not surprising. From Leelavati the other day, from Leelavati to Waterfield Road, which is 4 point something kilometers, it has taken me 47 minutes.
Which is why, by the way, in Bombay, you don't measure distance in kilometers. You measure it in
In
minutes.
time, yeah.
And
Dude, I'll
also-
give you.
And
I'll
also
give
you
you.
measure it in, you don't just measure it in time, you also measure it in time during time of day.
Yes.
Yeah.
आप कभी
हाँ,
निकलते हो?
हाँ, और उसमें ब्रो बेस्ट एग्जांपल मैं यूएस टूर पे था, ठीक है, और हम लोग शिकागो में थे, वी वर लिटिल आउटसाइड, तो वी वर फिगर लाइक विल गो आउट फॉर लंच और व्हाटएवर, तो प्रमोटर को बोला इधर जाना है, तो प्रमोटर बोलता नहीं बहुत दूर है ये, तो ऐसे ठीक है चल कोई और जगह चलते पास में, बट जस्ट फॉर माय नॉलेज आई वांटेड टू चेक हाउ फार दिस रेस्टोरेंट दैट वी वर सपोज्ड टू गो टू इज, ठीक है, ऐसे फोन ने कहा 34 मिनट्स था। तो मैं मारा उसको, मतलब क्या भाई 34 मिनट, मेरे को 20 मिनट अपने घर से निकलने लगते हैं, 34 मिनट्स इज, इफ यू आर इन बॉम्बे एंड एनी डिस्टेंस शोस 34 मिनट्स, यू आर लाइक यस बाप 30 मिनट में पहुंच रहे हो जेश, तो एक्स्ट्रा एक्साइट हो जाता है।
It's a
But
plan.
you know the
एक
problem
बार
also
मैं
is this,
वरुण को
that the
उसके घर पे
34
छोड़-
minutes is actually far, because
Yes,
Yeah.
34 minutes
it was 51 kilometers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Dude,
why he
एक बार
said
मैं वरुण को उसके घर पे छोड़ने के लिए गया, एंड आई ड्रिवन, अब वरुण का क्या है, you drop him at the main gate and then I started going down outside, तो वो मेन गेट से मैं निकला एंड एक गली है वो किसी ने ब्लॉक किया था, to get back on the main road from Varun's building to that, which is barely 100 meters, took me 30 minutes because some idiot had screwed it all up and that lane is
Population.
now blocked. It takes one person, yeah,
population,
one
bro,
person
population.
on
Population.
one person on a motorbike can ruin everything.
how have we made this story about, how have we made this episode about traffic stories?
Traffic.
Because population.
Because everything is some.
मेरे को एक बात बता, चाणक्य को मिला था कभी ट्रैफिक जिधर जा रहा है, चाणक्य का कोई भी रेस्टोरेंट जा सकता था विदाउट टेंशन, चाहे वो 100 किलोमीटर दूर हो, भाई 20 मिनट में पहुंच
Yeah.
जाते,
उसका
अपने वो प्रॉब्लम हो रहा
problems अलग था because
I don't think he can reach
There were
100
fewer
kilometer
restaurants.
away. गाड़ी नहीं था, बैलगाड़ी इतना फास्ट जा नहीं सकता है.
है, वो भी है। अच्छा चल एक पॉप क्विज करते हैं, ठीक है, अपन फर्स्ट और सेकंड तो मालूम है कि मॉडल कॉलेज और राजपूत कॉलेज तो इंडिया और चाइना है, राइट, लेकिन बाकी 8
Xavier's.
में तुम गेस कर सकते हो। नंबर 3 पैदान पे कौन है, गेस करो, विच कंट्री?
एक मिनट
It's
Without
always
seeing anything.
America.
No, no.
Always
all I'm saying
America.
is, ठाकुर थोड़ा पीछे जा माइक से, बस
हाँ.
उतना ही है, मैं उतना ही बोलेगा। हाँ, अभी जो कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, पॉपुलेशन बढ़ गया, आई हैव टू रीच एवरीबॉडी, सो आई हैव टू कम क्लोजर।
Population.
हाँ.
चलो बताओ, तीसरे पायदान पे कौन है?
It was America.
Indonesia.
No? For years.
Wrong.
No. Indonesia
Wrong.
is too small.
Wrong. Third is Nigeria.
Hey, African country.
Yeah, fourth
But it just
is US. So basically, in your top 10, there is 5 African nations. There is India, there's China, there's Pakistan, there's US, and there's Indonesia.
Yeah, but between India and China, you've covered 1/3 of the world's population.
37.7% of global population is Indian or Chinese. Indian 17 या 18% दुनिया के, मतलब every 18th person you meet is an Indian, which is why any Bollywood movie you watch and if it's being shot outside, they'll always have an Indian character and it's plausible. क्योंकि of course, hey, it's based on reality.
Now in international movies also, there's one Indian character.
There has to be. देखो क्या लगता है, मैं वहां पे जाके एमए मुफ्त में कर रहा हूँ.
वो representation के लिए वो
Dude, the crazy thing is like just this way, na, like we are colonizing the world through legal means now. Right?
Yeah.
Earlier they used to come via ships and then they used to fight us and then take our lands. We are doing it through the legal process, like applying for visa, nicely going there, learning to work.
killing it, making money.
And
Top 5 richest earning diasporas in the world. Not even top 5, top 3 in most places.
By the way, I have to point the amount of money it takes to migrate. I think Indians have no choice but to become CEOs. There is no choice.
That's my point. Because like it's crazy. There was one I forget who made this joke. Someone on Twitter did it. Please tag them if you know who it is. But the joke was very funny. It was basically the guy says ki, I hope the next CEO of Apple is a guy called Shiva. Because then the CEOs of Apple, Google, and Microsoft would be Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram.
Hilarious.
No,
Hilarious.
and all of them, dude. The whole Silicon Valley is like it's basically
Yeah.
like we are.
Bro, get this for perspective. ठीक है, गोरे लोग आए अपने इधर स्पाइसेस, कॉटन, चीप लेबर, कोहिनूर सब लेने के लिए आते, एक इंग्लिश सिखा के चले गए. Right now, currently, the number of Indians who speak English is way more than the number of British people who speak English.
Yeah.
We have some
Prime Minister
I think
is
British people or Europeans? The number of Europeans.
British people.
Same.
Same here.
But
Same
British
here.
people और कैसे communicate कर रहे हैं क्या? Grunts.
अरे बाबा, but I'm saying
उन लोग बियर से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं. 2 बियर पिया तो हाँ, 4 बियर पिया तो.
But what will be the difference between British people and European people who speak English? French don't want to speak it. Germans don't want to speak it.
Exactly,
Spanish,
that's what I
Italian
mean.
don't want to speak it. So it makes no difference.
But you know, like we are talking about how our city, Bombay, for example, supremely populated, this, that. But think about this. Tokyo is the largest populated city in the world. कितने लोग रह रहे पता है उधर? 37 million people
Wow.
at last count.
How many are there in Mumbai? 20 million?
25 के बीच में.
It's
Delhi has about 29.
fast.
Delhi has about 29.
Yeah, but you're counting
so-
NCR. If you actually only count Delhi, it's less. You're counting NCR.
But
अबे NCR टोक्यो में थोड़ी है लेकिन.
but this is true because in Tokyo I was reading something about this where they have these extremely cramped like in
Homes,
there
yeah.
are these buildings where like
Hong Kong.
Like-
Hong Kong.
Oh, that's
No,
Hong
no,
Kong.
Tokyo.
Hong
No,
Kong.
no, Tokyo is insane. So Hong Kong and Tokyo suffer from the same problem, but the difference is Tokyo got so expensive that just to buy bread and rice, bread
Yeah.
and eggs, it was you were better off just getting out of the border of Tokyo. The price drastically reduces for basic amenities. And
Bro,
this is
the
a problem in
government-
Japan.
The government was doing this for the people. They're like, भाई तू एक काम कर, अपना फैमिली बोरिया बिस्तर बांधो, यहाँ से बाहर जाके रहे, तो their help, the government will give you subsidies. तेरे को पैसा मिल रहा है, तेरे को कुछ ये मिल रहा है कि तू, एक तो उन लोग को प्रॉब्लम है पॉपुलेशन की, क्योंकि उधर सब बूढ़ेश, जापान ओनली बूढ़ेश, ठीक है, तो उधर तो कोई nobody is having sex, nobody is, I mean they are having sex, but like nobody is having kids, right?
Yeah.
So उनका वो प्रॉब्लम है, plus their Tokyo has such a high concentration of people that everything is focused on one area. तेरा Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, और पता नहीं, I don't know about other places that might have or not have people, but वहां से उन लोग सीधा बोल रहे हैं पब्लिक को कि तुम बाहर जाके रहो, we will develop those वाला areas और तुम लो पैसा. सवाल ना चूतिए, मैं जाने के लिए रेडी हूँ.
तुम लोग जोक नहीं सुना
हाँ.
मैंने इसके लिए.
क्या बोला बाबा?
बोला?
सॉरी.
मुरैया बोला मैंने when you said Osaka.
Oh yeah, नशा ही नशा है, नजर में आया, उसाका मोरैया मोरैया, मोहब्बत का मेरी तुझे ये नशा है. देख ऐसा सब करेगा तो मैं चालू हो जाऊंगा
These
guys.
90s Bollywood deep cuts. Where else will you get
But
them
okay,
except this?
now since we've discussed these heavy populated areas, what place do you think is the most densely populated city in the world?
Oh, city.
Dadar station at 9 a.m.
सवाल.
Yes. No. But
Densely
close.
populated
Very
city
close.
in the
But
world.
density,
Dadar
that is
came in
Tokyo. That is
No.
Tokyo.
No.
It is. अबे 37 million से ज्यादा कहाँ रह रहे हैं लोग? कोई कौन सी सिटी में?
I'm sorry.
So no,
Sakinaka.
it's dependent on the size. It's on the size
He
also.
said,
So-
yeah, population
okay.
per square foot.
हाँ.
Yeah.
किधर है?
Monaco.
France.
Monaco? Really?
Yeah.
लेकिन वो है ही इतना सा बे, end to end 20 माइल है.
Exactly. But that's what, nah, like it's just a numbers game at this point. But
तू वहाँ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग देख, वो जो डेंसली पॉपुलेटेड
Insane.
जो रह रहे हैं वैसे ऐसे ना, ऐसे बेवजह पैसे उड़ाते रहते हैं for no reason.
I
क्या कर
saw
रहा है
some
प्रवीण?
footage of the Monaco Grand Prix and it's like the kind of people that are just watching that race is
Arey
insane.
bro, one sec.
कितना पैसा?
I'll tell you. So I'll tell you. When you go to, I'll just give. So कान से मोनाको दूर नहीं है और वो सेम कोस्ट लाइन पे है
और
और
तो गया था टाइटेनियम लेने फिर
उतना ही फूफू पब्लिक है, उतना ही रिच पब्लिक है. लेकिन ये जो मोनाको का सीन है, so once the summer rolls around, all those yachts and stuff like that have insane parking fees. Okay, and people will try to get the parking spot for the yacht, not because they will take the yacht out into the water. It is so that they can park their yachts and watch the Formula One and just chill on the thing. And so it is insane because Monaco is a street circuit like a few others, but it is so expensive and it is so incredible that even to go from Cannes to Monaco, most people are like, यार छोड़ यार, उधर जाके कुछ भी नहीं खरीद पाएगा. Like you can't stay also, so just let's forget it. उधर नहीं जाता है. It's really that crazy, and it's along the same coastline. So people are parking their yachts in Cannes, which is just as expensive, and then saying we'll drive to Monaco.
Wow.
ये सब हो रहा है उधर.
I don't mind. अगर मेरे पास इतने पैसे होते तो मैं भी यही करता.
अरे बट तेरे पास उतने पैसे
ठीक है, तो मेरे को ये सालों को पार्किंग नहीं मिल रहे, मेरे को बिल्कुल सिंपैथी नहीं है सालों के लिए. मेरे को पार्किंग नहीं मिल रहा है, बात वो प्रॉब्लम है. ये मोनाको में चूतिए को अपनी यॉट पार्क कर, तू मत खरीद यॉट. बोल रही है क्यों खरीद रहे हो?
मत करना. प्लेन हेलीकॉप्टर खरीद के रहना ऊपर,
प्लेन में घूमते रहे ऊपर सर्कल अराउंड, बड़ा कार्बन एमिशन. वैसे भी जा रही है अपन सब.
वो हैमिल्टन को फॉलो कर तू हेलीकॉप्टर.
Dude, but you're talking about densely populated places, right? Monaco is small, log bahut hai, but there are certain countries which are huge, but unka population problem hai. And number one in that is New Zealand, right? Big place, and at one point when during one of the earlier
people, no?
yes, they had this was in 1980s or something. They had done a census, okay? So usme New Zealand had 3.18 million people, but 70.3 million sheep. There were 5.22 sheep per person. तो सोच कितना बिरयानी खा सकते थे उन लोग.
कितना स्वेटर बना रहे हैं,
पर्सनल बिरयानी सबके लिए 5. तू सोच, insane.
But then it also means that like there's one guy with a disproportionate amount of sheep.
Yeah.
Like this guy's got like a million.
This is a dude walking his 5 sheep every day. It's like, अरे यार, ये government हमेशा 5 बकरी पकड़ा देती है हम लोग को.
And the thing about it is because he has 1 million sheep, he's as a result not rich in any way. Like he's like,
or if you have 1 million sheep just by the virtue of having them.
No, it's just like मेरे को ये 1 million sheep को खाना खिलाने का, लेकिन कोई sheep को खरीद नहीं रहा है खाना खाने को. So
अबे तू sheep को खा जा ना.
Bro, you know, at that point, I'm sorry, but the sheep should have staged a rebellion and taken over the country, sat in the parliament and been like, boss, हम लोग majority.
No, they should have sat in the parliament and gone, मैं.
करेक्ट. प्राइम मिनिस्टर कौन बनेगा? मैं. तुम में और मेरे बीच में शीप कौन है? मैं. अप्रैल के बाद कौन सा महीना आता है? मैं. ये पता है अमेजिंग सीन कौन से पिक्चर में था?
This is Akshay Kumar scene.
It is from a movie, Mr. Mrs. खिलाड़ी, जिसमें अक्षय कुमार जाके बकरी बेचता है किसी को और ऐसे लाख रुपए की बकरी बेचता है. तो बोलते हैं बकरी बात करता है. हाँ,
पीछे जा ठाकुर, पीछे.
ठाकुर तू पीछे से बात कर. अभी उधर से अक्षय कुमार कर.
बहुत क्लियर.
Oh shit.
But in Australia they actually encourage people to hunt kangaroos and eat them.
Yeah.
Because again, same problem.
Feral
Too much space.
population.
Yeah, in fact, more space than Australia than New Zealand.
Hey, Aadar, kangaroo से याद आया. Do you have any fact about?
Funny you should ask, my friend. I have something very. Wait, let me pull it up. Here we go. Okay, so in 2021, the Delhi Forest Department dropped its plans to control the monkey population in Delhi by laparoscopic sterilization.
That was a
blocked their plans. 3 साल try किया and then they gave up.
Holy.
They wanted to actually sterilize the monkeys and then they decided that we will go ahead with immunocontraceptive vaccines instead, but they will wait until they have enough evidence of the long-term effect. They don't want to end up killing all the monkeys
Fair.
and then create a panda situation in
I
Delhi.
I want to watch them try and catch a monkey to immunosterilize it with a vaccine. चूते ऐसे कान के नीचे मारेगा ना जोर से बंदर. क्या
Funny you should ask.
There's video of Kejriwal running behind a monkey.
There has the.
अरे मैं करप्ट नहीं हूँ, इधर आओ. अरे इधर आओ, मैं करप्ट नहीं हूँ.
5.5 करोड़ रुपया सैंक्शन हुआ था 2019 में, so that for a company to actually take this up, train people, train officials to actually catch monkeys and then shift them to a sanctuary and sterilize them. And a lot of animal rights groups have protested this because because there were failed attempts in Agra and Himachal, because again crores of rupees were spent in Himachal to sterilize 2 lakh monkeys. They managed to sterilize 2 lakh monkeys, but that just made the monkeys more aggressive. And they started attacking humans.
Oh, dude, this,
So now a monkey who has been injected with immunosterilization vaccine is going ahead and biting humans. He is going and biting humans. तो अभी वो आदमी जो पकड़ने गया वो sterilize हो गया. अभी उसके बच्चे नहीं होंगे.
Initially क्या किया था इन लोग ने? They were trying to take the alpha males out. तो alpha male लेके जाते थे, but then they would elect another alpha male, and the population would keep expanding.
They would look at the guys and say, "It's smart."
So and in 2020 there was supposed to be a very detailed monkey mapping to happen in north of India. Like what would be a proper monkey census was supposed to happen in 2020, but COVID stalled this plan.
और वैसे भी कोविड के टाइम पे अपन 12 दिन अंदर थे तो सब आ गए एनिमल्स रास्ते में. सब जानवर सब आ गए उधर. मंकी बैठ के बोले जीते तू अभी क्या आएगा मेरे पास. और मंकी पॉपुलेशन डबल कि उन लोग भी कुछ है नहीं करने के लिए कोविड के बीच में.
मेरे को देखने का हाउ डू यू कंडक्ट अ मंकी, बिकॉज़ हम अपना सेंसस क्या होता है, बंदा आता है दरवाजे पे पूछता है घर पे कौन है, पूरा वो होता है. हाउ इज ही गोइंग फ्रॉम ट्री टू ट्री? मैडम ये झाड़ पे कितने बैठे हैं आज बताओ.
हाँ नहीं मतलब कुछ तो होगा ना, टैगिंग वैगिंग कुछ तो करेगा. उसको बैंड बना दिया इधर कुछ, जैसे कुत्तों का काट देते ना, कान काट देते हैं जानने मालूम करने के लिए कि ये.
Because monkeys respond very well when you cut their ears, guys. Monkeys are very docile when you try to chop their ears.
But you tag them. That's how they sort of do it. So.
No, so the court actually made a statement that you have to put a more legitimate scientific plan in place. You can't just pick a random monkey and give it contraceptive and expect something to happen. This is a court.
Do these like these wholesale changes to anything.
Yeah.
It just permanently fucks up the entire ecosystem for 2-3 generations. Then you have to set up another committee, put another few crores to fix the fucking problem.
But here the bureaucracy is helping, क्योंकि 5.5 करोड़ रुपया इन लोग ने sanction किया था 2019 में. Now there is a tender floating for the last 3-4 years and no company is willing to take it up.
So what is their scientific approach now? किसी तरह ऐसे गन लेके तो आंसर हो गया होगा, टेंशन नहीं.
Bro, by the way, so just it's a small this thing very similar to the point I was making, but it's an insane story about there's this one time in history where Chairman Mao of China, okay, he came up with this plan that he wants to eradicate all sparrows. Okay, the reason he wanted to do
Varun
that
is on with this plan, huh?
नहीं, but sparrow चलेगा. भाई sparrow मेरे बोगनविला में रहते हैं.
I don't like sparrow.
So
yeah, one for sorrow, 2 for क्या है उसका कुछ गलत नंबर आया होगा, इसलिए गुस्सा हो गया उसका.
अरे वो मैना है.
So he wanted to eradicate sparrows because the sparrows used to eat the grains. So he thought कि अगर मैं sparrows को उड़ा दूंगा तो grains ज्यादा हो जाएंगे for my population. Here's how that amazing plan backfired immediately. He kills all the sparrows. Sparrows were eating worms. Worms were eating grains.
Oh.
नहीं, और वैसे भी और famine हो गया ना फिर.
Yeah.
That is a very there was this guy, right, called Thomas Malthus, and there's a very popular theory called the Malthusian theory, which is there is a linear growth of population along with when you have a good agricultural growth. Now this reaches up to a point following which there is reduction. फिर तेरा war, famine, ये सब होने वाला है, and automatically your population gets corrected. And this has happened multiple times
But we
in the
also
past.
we were able to circumvent his projections because what he was projecting was a finite land and expanding population is a bad idea. But what
Correct.
we did is that we started growing 4x the amount of grains on the same
Grains.
amount of land.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we sort of like out Malthus.
Correct. Correct.
Which is what's still helping us. And also the crazy thing is like now that the world is so interconnected, right? Like everything, like it's so interconnected that you can save one part of the world from any kind of starvation from a totally different part of the world. Like everything is linked. Like our bread basket is in a different place and our milk basket is in a different place and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but you still have like gross difference between people who are actually getting to it and not getting to it.
Yeah, that is still a
like that doesn't, and in fact, like there are these two guys who wrote this book called The Empty Planet, and they have a theory. Basically what they did is they went across 6 continents, spoke to a whole bunch of people, a lot of demographs who actually are very vocal about it, but they are vocal about it in their own little circles, because your go-to person to give you any statistics related to population is the UN. ठीक है, तेरे को यूएन बताएगा, यूएन के सर्वे के हिसाब से 2100 में इसका पॉपुलेशन इतना होने वाला है. They assume that world population will be at 11 billion. I just don't even know how to like wrap my head around it. 11 or 12 billion. So these guys are saying that the UN projections are wrong, right? And what they did, they went across the world. They met a lot of people, a lot of demographs. They've gone to rural areas. Like he was narrating this incident that happened with him in India. He said, I was in India in one of a very remote village and all of that, and we were sitting and having a conversation with all the women from the area, and overwhelmingly when they were asked how many kids would you want to have, they all said 2. Okay? And then in the conversation suddenly एक औरत फोन निकालती है, कुछ अपना चेक करती है और डालती है. That's when it hits him that I'm in a remote village in India, in a very poverty stricken area, but women here have cell phones, data packages, access to information, right? Because one of the main things that they feel will help in the curb of population is if more women are educated, the more women get secondary education, right? Their idea of family planning and all of that changes drastically.
It's not just,
No, that's one of the things. I'm not saying that's the only reason.
Within it's not just that, it's also specific to family planning and reproductive services and stuff like that. Like
all of that, contraception, like a whole bunch of things. So the more aware they get, they're saying, like as per their projections, that the more women get secondary education and are aware and made aware and are understanding all of these ideas and concepts, we will save at least 3 billion more people coming out.
Yeah, as they say in Marathi, mulgi shikli, pragati
zali.
Correct.
But Baba, what are some of the other things? Like, so in our country, at least, we've been trying to curb the population for years, right? Like,
Sab nasbandi, hum do, hamare do. You guys remember that? Hum do, hamare do.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm saying there was all of that. Then there was the whole like the nasbandi and all, obviously. And the thing is, I mean, unfortunately, I got struck with the sour end of the stick. But
nasbandi.
With
what end of your stick?
As regards of this research. But there has been no time in history when population control by a government has been kind or has been good. There has been no time in history at all. Like for example, apart from like the whole like the immunization and sterilization camps in India, in Uzbekistan, for example, without the consent of the woman, after the second birth, they would sterilize the woman without consent. Doctors would just do it.
I remember.
Oh, doctors would do it like when they're at the hospital, they've just delivered.
So they've just delivered without their consent.
So this thing now that we're talking about in Uzbekistan, the doctors, so they were interviewed, I think, by the BBC, okay, like covertly. and they basically said that the government would come to them with a mandate, okay, that you being a doctor in this area have to by mandate sterilize this number of people. Okay, so now how you hit your target is your concern, which is crazy
Wow.
because like that's so much pressure, and so it just forces people to do all these like inhumane things, right?
Inhuman thing. And that's the thing, like every time a government has decided, or a legislative unit has decided that we need to curb populations, it has always been extremely cruel, extremely I don't know, post-apocalyptic almost, and extremely criminal towards women. It's
Yeah.
always been in that sort
Yeah,
of
always towards so Uzbekistan, apparently 8 girls were a doctor was on an average forced to sterilize 8 girls a week.
There you go.
yeah. So I'm saying, but overall, like we were talking about things that people can do. We've spoken about how you can empower women and empower education within women, married couples, family planning clinics, family planning talks and wellness things. But there are
Abolishing child marriage, man. Increasing the shadi age limit also. Like you're getting kids married at like 12, 14. They are not told, explained anything. What else is going to happen?
Yeah, like one of the interesting ways that somebody has possibly done it was there's this US based population media center. What they've done is they've done radio soap operas, right? And they sort of have stories almost that are told. They're almost narrative in its nature. So they're radio plays and radio stories and stuff. And within that, they literally make it like soap operas, right? So you have to tune in and you have to listen and all that. And and subliminally within that, they're educating people about reproductive issues, right? And these have been heard by almost 500 million people in 50 countries.
1 second. So
that's damn cool.
There is a Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi version, which is about population control.
No, which is Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, in which the Bahu is subliminally talking about population control.
Yeah. So for example, there are two Bahus.
Basically, उनके उसमें उन लोग टिस का ये एपिसोड करते हैं.
हाँ.
So for
the
example,
Bahu has a podcast.
3 बच्चे हो गए तेरे.
No, देखो बा, मैल्थुसियन थ्योरी के हिसाब से क्या बोली तू? मैल्थुसियन थ्योरी एम्प्टी प्लैनेट पढ़ा है? नहीं.
So for example, like, and these are staggering numbers, right? Like 500 million people in 50 countries listening to a syndicated version of this Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi equivalent, right? In Ethiopia, that same syndicated show had 63% of women who were seeking reproductive health services. They were listening to the show on and on. 63%. That's fucking staggering numbers, right? Wow. People were talking about like it's, and people have not done done it through just this, right? Like, for example, when Beti Bachao and all of that was happening, right? Like there were a lot of these conversations and stories that were spread through urban legend and urban mystery, where you were given constructs and stories and stuff like that, where you were urged to sort of do Beti Bachao. And invariably, storytelling has always been a very powerful tool to either sway for or against, depending on what the narrative is. And it also seemed like a less cruel way to do it, because you were only you were only educating and informing, but it had a staggering impact. That is why these kind of things sort of always work. But otherwise, every time in history, it's been completely...
Yeah, but because consent, the idea that the woman is making the choice matters. No? So, like in India, it was one of the worst ones. So I think like in 75, we had a 21-month mass sterilization program.
Yeah,
where it was women were actually given cash rewards for
that's the
sterilization.
incentivization and all of that had happened. Yes.
Yeah, and then but it's not technically an incentivization when you desperately need that
Need
money,
the
right?
money.
So it became
Correct.
like it was
Correct.
quoted as a war on poor. Like globally, it became like your it became a very rudimentary like left way, like it's a very kind of eugenics kind of approach where because technically there will be a certain section of the population that will be attracted to this
Yes,
entire
yes, who need
cash
the money
reward
for
incentive.
it's the same like the donate your kidney for money, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
did it for that. But what was interesting is like in Rwanda, they I think consistently for about 5 or 7 years, they ran education services towards men and women about how contraception can have a big impact. So they were educating it through contraception. Like when we in India did Balbir Pasha as a campaign, but it was specifically towards AIDS and it was towards
AIDS.
the
Yeah.
it was towards HIV, AIDS, and the and the sex workers, right? Like that's where it was targeted. Whereas when Rwanda did it, they came at contraception from a populist angle, from a healthy family angle, also because as a country they were poor. So their concern was when families end up getting more kids, what's ending up happening is it's putting a strain on the economic system as well. So when they did this, I think over 5 or 7 years, they saw a threefold increase in contraception usage. Threefold increase in contraception usage in 5 years. That's incredible again, right? So I think when there's a strategic, planned communication approach that does not affect that sort of tries to influence people without any what's the word without any coercion of any kind, I think those schemes not only do well but also have a lasting impact when you actually do it, because you sort of that also is told to children. It's
But you know, like these are like proper ways in which governments will either incentivize, educate people to do it. I really like Bill Burr's idea on this also. You know, where he's like, there's too many people, and for that, what has to happen is that when people wake up in the morning, they should like some of them should go to the beach, go into the water and just keep going.
No, I think there was one which there was another bit of his which was about just start bombing cruise ships, because those are the type
You
of
don't
people
need-
you don't want those people. You don't need them.
So also, by the way, just to come back to Baba's thing, I think he's absolutely right. Ki anytime governments, bureaucrats, etc., try to get involved into micromanaging populations, it always leads to some kind of unintended consequence, right? So, for example, the most famous experiment of this kind was obviously China's one-child policy. Okay, and it had some crazy side effects. Like, for example, the most clear and obvious one was that if families wanted to have just one child, they always preferred having a male child. So the number of female fetuses that were being aborted, killed, all of that, it just exponentially grew. That led to a different crisis later when everyone grew up. The other unintended consequence is that they had to put loopholes, in their law to allow certain people to have more than one child. And when you look into some of them, right, as you go down the thing, it just becomes more and more fantastic. Okay, like I'm just going to read out 3 things that were there in these exceptions. So you could have more than one child if the couple remarried but have only one child in total. Okay, so like in the sense that
as in what they have separate marriage se आधा बच्चा है क्या कि
no. So one of the persons has one child and the other person doesn't. So then if you remarry, then the other person can get their own kid. So the other one. Now here's where it gets a little more story-like. The husband is a farmer who married a woman already with a daughter. Brackets. This only if that husband pledges to care for the woman's parents. Then you can have 2 kids. It's a weird one.
क्या चल रहा है भाई China में?
There must have been some reason for
it, right? Now the third one, and this is the last of the weird ones. There's obviously more specific, normal sounding.
There was something to do with twins and all. Like if you were gave
No,
birth
so,
to twins.
sure, yeah. And this
Or
is
if your surname is Jinping.
these are the abnormal ones. Okay, so here's the most offbeat one. The husband has brothers, but only one brother is able to give birth, and the others have promised not to adopt.
How is the brother giving birth?
As in, can bear
Then
child.
have
As
a
in,
child.
like,
Oh,
the
acha,
brother
okay,
is
bro. I
fertile.
thought
Sorry, can't bear
Yeah,
child,
the
but
brother
like
is
can give
fertile.
birth.
हाँ, the brother is capable.
बायोलॉजी में लूप होल ढूंढ रहे हैं.
तो अगर तेरे 4-5 भाई हैं and collectively you have decided for some odd reason, a very specific circumstance, कि 4 भाई को बच्चे नहीं चाहिए.
नहीं चाहिए कि नहीं हो सकते. इनफर्टाइल है कि
नहीं हो सकते और चाहिए भी नहीं और
और अडॉप्ट भी नहीं करेंगे.
सिर्फ मजे की इश.
तो फिर तू बना सकता है उनके बिहाफ पे. So these are weird and absurd things that happen when you have these like countries trying to curb on population.
Yeah,
But-
so if you had more than 2 children in during the one child policy, both mother and father were docked 10% of their pay for a period of 14 years. And they have to pay back the benefits that they had gotten from the government for the first child.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these, like whether it's economic, whether it's these kind of policies that have worked both ways. Even when countries have tried to increase population, like there have been
Migration.
yeah,
Okay.
there have been ad campaigns that I remember, and I think
So-
one of the really famous ones, I think a Danish company or something had done it.
Yeah, it is Denmark.
so-
Yeah, it is Danish.
Was it Danish? Which was
yeah.
So yeah,
let
it is
me
definitely
dig out
Danish.
of this.
Do it for Denmark or something.
Yeah.
Do it.
So basically,
हाँ.
so in our country, like when we grew up, we always had this thing कि हमारा country बहुत populous है, and therefore we have to curb it. And so it never occurred to me, at least, that the opposite could ever be a problem, right? Like we always thought of World Population Day as like, holy shit, like we have to solve this. Earth is getting completely messed up. But in more recent times, there is a crisis of population happening across the world to several countries. And the crisis is not of overpopulation, but it's of underpopulation. There are all these countries where the birth rate has declined to the point where these countries cannot replace their population. So they're getting emptier and emptier as time is going by. And not just that, the population is getting older and there's fewer and fewer people to take care of them. So here are some of the reasons. And when you hear some of the reasons why this is happening, you'll realize that, yeah, this applies to all of us in some way or the other, right? Populations decline when there is poor economic conditions. So when can't see prospects in the future, they go like कि अभी इस सीन में तो बच्चा तो नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि स्कूल फीस हो गए हैं 6 लाख रुपए पर ईयर.
मैं रोज ऑसिलेट होते रहता हूँ कि हाँ चाहिए, हाँ एक्चुअली क्यों चाहिए, अबे रहने देना, चल घूमने जाते हैं, नहीं चाहिए, हाँ चाहिए, अरे मुझे ये गिग मिल गया, चल ठीक है हो जाए आज बच्चा, अरे ये गिग नहीं मिला, बच्चा नहीं हो जाए.
अरे वो जूते बहुत अच्छे लग रहे हैं आजकल. हाँ,
बच्चा है जॉर्डन.
बच्चे रोलेक्स का 10 साल बाद अप्रिशिएट होएगा.
बच्चा ज्यादा इधर मिलना रोलेक्स है भाई, 12 साल की वेटिंग है. हाँ कौतुक.
Second is like we were talking about the education of women and women entering the workforce. Right? So the minute that happens, it's a game changer, right? Like the age of marriage of women also goes up, and the number of kids they have comes down. The other thing is that when a kid happens, women are disproportionately they have to care for it more than the husband. And here's the interesting thing. This happens even when the husband is offered equal advantages to take care of the kid. So in Japan and Korea, they offer the husband, like it's a voluntary thing. You can take paternity leave, but men don't do it. 1 in 6 are taking the opportunity, right? So,
but with full pay.
Yeah, with full pay.
Yeah, it's paid like maternity leave.
6-8 months, and
but they're giving both, na maternity leave और paternity भी दे रहे. क्या बात है? So public not liish. So that's the thing. So basically,
because the fear of losing the job, or because 90% of the time what happens is you
क्योंकि आलसी है, मर्द आलसी है.
No, and that's
Nahi,
not.
what happens is when you try to rejoin the company, your place has kind of been taken by someone else. So it's
That's
that much
literally
tougher.
that's literally what women go through, which is why
Yeah.
they are scared to have kids.
And
Yeah, but
Exactly
a lot
what you
of
said.
times, that's why a lot of times women don't go back to work at all.
and also, so that's the thing, right? So the other point is that it, like just it's culturally not been told to guys that you have to participate in this.
Correct.
Hmm.
Your job ends at, it doesn't end at that point of conception, right? Like it's
तू जाके हंट कर, मैं हंट क्यों करूं, मैं बॉम्बे में रहता हूँ. मेरे को खाना मिल जाएगा जोमेटो पे. नहीं.
and here's the other one. Okay, this is a very interesting one. Ki values are shifting. Have you noticed this with like our friends and stuff?
I was
Where-
just going to bring it up. Half of them are like, bro, क्यों चाहिए? I'm not going to get a child into this world. ठीक है? Since I was 13 or 14 years old, you know, when you think, अच्छा मेरी शादी होगी, मेरे बच्चा होगा, मेरे को हमेशा 2 बच्चे चाहिए थे. ठीक है? क्यों? क्योंकि I was one of 2. I was one of 2. And anybody who is the product of 2, right, will always tell you, no, it's always great to have 2, yaar. You know, you have somebody you can share with, which is true. Right? वो तू सिंगल बच्चा है तो तू एकदम spoiled brat रहेगा, ये रहेगा, वो रहेगा, whatever.
Not
And I was
right.
always of the opinion.
हाँ.
But now, every time I think about it, एक तो बच्चा चाहिए, right? But अभी मैं सोच रहा हूँ एक काफी है यार.
yeah. Yeah.
क्यों भर रहे?
Yeah.
हाँ,
So
उसको
ये-
spoil करो, enjoy करा उसको. हाँ.
This is what's happening. So people are having one or less than one, and one of the reasons that
How can you have less than one?
none. You have none.
Exactly.
so
Half.
so basically, what is also changing is the fact that earlier people used to be family oriented, in the sense that family was a goal that you aspired to, and it was as important as any other goal in life, and probably more than any other goal in life.
Hmm.
Today, work, career, personal prestige,
Party, trip.
Instagram, all of that is way more important than, or is becoming way more important
Yeah.
than family. So people are like, "Fuck it,
Elon
na,
Musk
apan-"
is of the opposite. Elon Musk is of the opposite opinion, right? Have you heard of his opinions on population? He's like the working population. He is literally a proponent of this theory. He's like, in the next 10 years or 20 years, there's going to be a considerable amount of population that's going to end up as the retired population. And because of advance in medicine, they will live longer. So that
Yeah.
period of retirement and the force on
Increases.
And our workforce is decreasing because the people who are going to enter that retirement age, a lot of them didn't have kids, and the new ones are not. So Elon has 9 kids. So he's going into that zone.
एक भाई कल अर्थ को कुछ हो गया, वो बैठ जाएगा स्पेसशिप में, वो निकल जाएगा मार्स. ठीक है?
हाँ, वो खुद ही पॉपुलेट करेगा मार्स को.
लगने अपने वाली है. But this whole thing of getting people to migrate because your workforce population is declining massively, बच्चे नहीं हो रहे. Canada, for the landmass that it has, right, has severe chronic shortage of public. ठीक है? Just
Yeah.
people who can work, and especially like that area, not British Columbia, but the other side, up north in the mountains. Okay, Toronto सबके साइड से ऊपर जाएगा ना तो उधर है ही नहीं. उधर पाइन ट्रीज, 4 मूस और एक बेर, यही है. तो उधर सीधा तेरे को बोल रहे हैं कि
एस्किमो.
हाँ, और एस्किमो जो अलास्का से आ रहे.
हाँ.
उधर उन लोग बोल रहे हैं कि तू इधर आ, यहाँ रह, इंस्टेंट PR, VR सब कुछ.
हाँ.
And who all they've
subsidies.
targeted, yeah, subsidies also, and great pay. So like a truck driver, long haul truck driver, अभी अगर पंजाब में तू चला रहा है, ठीक है, पंजाब से तू गया जिधर भी, वही सेम ट्रक ड्राइवर अगर वही सेम चीज कनाडा में करेगा तो उसको INR में गेस कर कितना पैसा मिल रहा है.
10 करोड़ रुपया.
नहीं बेची थी. वो
Whenever
ट्रक को
you
अपने
ask
हाथ पे
about-
खड़े लेके नहीं जा रहे.
it always makes whatever the real number is.
80 लाख रुपया साल का.
That's not much.
There, because you guess 10 crores. It's always underwhelming.
80 लाख रुपया is quite a bit, bro. और तू उधर ऊपर जंगल में रह रहा है, उधर स्नो
अबे,
है.
लेकिन उन लोगों का कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग भी तो हाई हो जाता है ना. हीटिंग कॉस्ट.
अबे तू रह रहा देख ना किधर है. लेकिन
I have personally never had to pay for heating, and now मेरा heating का बिल है, मैं तुमको मेरा
फिर भी तू 80 लाख
20 I've just paid 28,000 for heating for 3 months.
अरे
But it was winter.
Aadar, if out of 80 lakhs you save even 20 lakhs, I think it's a little worth it.
Yeah.
But
एक advantage है in these countries. Apparently, I get rebates on electricity. So I'm always in positive in electricity. So I'm 200 pounds positive in electricity because I've got a Indian mentality of not wasting electricity. So government subsidy jo aata hai mere ko, so I spend an extra 200 pounds and I still will not have any bill.
Fuck.
I didn't understand this only. You're
Because-
basically
जो चाचा है वही भतीजा है, जो भतीजा है वही चाचा है, ऐसे कोई
you're
separate
basically
चाचा ही नहीं.
saving on you're basically collecting a rebate on minimum usage.
Yeah, so they give you, so every month they give you about so I'll just pull up the bill, but the gas bill is insane. That's the problem. So unka alag hi chal raha hai, unka cost of living crisis is legit because you can't end up using so now we've got like heaters that are plugging into the wall because mere paas electricity ka bahut high allowance hai. So it's better to do that than to use the heating.
Right.
Like
Let me
gas.
come back to population for a second.
yes.
So, okay, now here's the thing. Okay, so these countries that have underpopulation, right, they are doing a few things to increase their population. Broadly speaking, here are a few things they do. Okay, they give you financial incentives. If you have more
Correct.
kids, you get tax benefits, you get benefits on public transport, a lot of stuff. You get housing assistance, you get childcare assistance, and you get longer and more lucrative maternity and paternity leaves, right? But apart from these broad things that people are doing, here are some insane things that they have also done. Okay, so strap in. Okay, I'm going to start with the more
मौसम बिगड़ने वाला है.
yeah, I'm going to start with the more normalish ones and then go to the crazy ones. So in France, families that have 3 or more kids receive discounts on things ranging from train fares to movie tickets. तो
3 or more.
या तो अगर तेरे पास 4 या 5 बच्चे हैं तो तू पठान कम पैसे में देख सकता है.
अच्छा, फ्रेंच लोग भी देख रहे हैं ल पठान.
No,
ल
but
मौसम
also in-
इज ल बिगड़ने वाला. ल
France
कुर्सी
में
के ल पेटी ल बांध.
France में I remember
Escargots.
the director he
French
had
onion
one
soup.
kid. He had one kid, and and I was asking him, so how's the school and what's it like, because we were talking about like India में तो बच्चा बहुत expensive हो गया अभी. So then no, the government pays for school, everything, and we get a certain allowance from the government to take care of the child, and up till 8 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's great. But I know, but if I had a second kid,
Yeah.
I would have both of their subsidies paid till they were 18 years old.
There you
तो
go.
उसको
like, I
पूछना
still
सीन
don't
क्या
want
है
two kids.
कि अपन जा सकते हैं. मैं
They
ऑन हूँ.
want French people. They want white people because white population is decreasing. White population is decreasing. And सब हम लोग ही जाके कर रहे हैं सब वहाँ पे. हम लोग ही तो
Avez-vous s'il vous plaît?
हाँ.
Qu'est-ce que ça que là? Lavez-vous, avez-vous, javez-vous, सब तो बोल रहा साले सब मैक्रून को समझ
यहाँ पे
आएगा
आते हैं लोग,
Okay.
यहाँ पे फ्रांस से आते हैं टूरिस्ट, और राजस्थान में कोई टूरिस्ट गाइड
बाबा
का
की
एक्सेंट
शक्ल
सुन के खुश होते हैं.
बाबा की
हाँ,
शक्ल
क्या
देख
बाबा?
कितने वो उसको सहन नहीं हो रहा है कि हम लोग ने उसके प्यारे फ्रेंच लोग के बारे में जैसे एस्कारगोस बोला, फ्रेंच अनियन सूप, उसको नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है.
Thakur, let me introduce you
Chale.
to a few
Filet
more
mignon.
countries where you can go. All right.
2 बच्चे चाहिए भाई मेरे को. बेबी
In आज करेगा ठाकुर. In Hungary, okay, women with 4 or more kids don't have to pay income tax for the rest of their life.
ओजेश बेबी कम ऑन, लेट्स गो. मैं तो नहीं भरना चाहता टैक्स अभी, बस इज्जत से बहुत टैक्स भर रहा हूं मैं, बहुत टैक्स. मेरे को रिटर्न में कुछ मिल रहा ही नहीं है यार.
The next one is for Bawa. Okay, because in 2013, this was done to increase the population of the Parsis.
Oh. Come on, Baba, take one for the team.
Geo-Parsi. Okay, and the idea was that a couple with an annual income of 10 lakhs or less will have the entire cost of their child care treatment and everything covered by the government.
Panchayat.
And the Parsi Bombay Panchayat. Now, in 2013, it was also said that Parsi couples with rupees 3,000 were going to be given 3,000 per month for 18 years for one kid and 5,000 for 2 kids.
भाई 3,000 में आएगा क्या?
क्या?
So-
एक डायपर.
अरे
क्या एक अकूरी, एक सोडा, एक तेरा पिस्टन जी सोडा, हो गया खत्म. 3,000 रुपए.
Something better than nothing is what I would say.
By the way, I was so we said population discuss करेंगे तो I asked my dad कि मेरा like where was I born and stuff like that. तो आपने बोला मेरा
अरे क्या मेथड रिसर्च
ऐसे अरे मैं he asked me over
पॉपुलेशन
dinner कि क्या
डैड एक बात बताओ
क्या
Where was I
हम लोग
conceived?
डिनर कर रहे थे
बहुत
ना yeah so we were having dinner so I was like क्या he asked me क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग आज रात को तो I said I asked him where was I born and we were checking out like how much it cost I was doing that research on my iPad कि कितना पैसा लगता है for a child to be born and whatever so I asked him कितना हुआ था मेरा तो he said तेरा होली स्पिरिट में हुआ था 800 रुपए में बर्थ I was born for 800 rupees
उसको बोल और वो हम तुमको लेके भी नहीं गए थे ऐसे चल रहे थे हो क्या तुमको हॉस्पिटल को देना पड़ा पैसा
तू एक सुपर चैट में पैदा हो गया बेसिकली
एक सुपर चैट
बेसिक
हाँ ब्रो तू होली स्पिरिट में हुआ था होली बैंड्रा है होली अंधेरी ईस्ट हाँ
अंधेरी ईस्ट
hey bro I was born in Bandra that's the only time
I was wheat candy.
और फिर अरे ब्रो क्या बात कर रहे तू
कोलकाता
अरे क्या बात है अपन कहाँ से आए फिर भी आदर को अंधेरी ईस्ट से यहाँ आने के लिए ज्यादा टाइम लगा
मेरे को बहुत टाइम लगा
आदर थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड में पहुंच गए जब तक वो आया हॉस्पिटल से वापस घर पे
All right. Now we come to China. Okay, one more time. Now China, because they went through this one child policy, then they realized, oh shit, we overcorrected too much. Now we have
Sparrows.
Yeah, Sparrow did. Now we need to encourage.
देखो लग रहा है उधर स्पैरो लेके ऐसे माओ को बोली चूतिया क्या सोचा तू हमको मारेगा
चाइना का कितना उल्टा है ना यहाँ पे एक साइड पे बोल रहे हैं बच्चे लोग को मत पैदा करो दूसरे साइड पे बोल रहे हैं पांडा लोग चलना चल लगाओ
So in China, now it starts getting bizarre, all right? In China, in several provinces, okay, they want to discourage people from having a divorce so that they stay together and have kids. So they were trying to prevent them from having a divorce, they would encourage them to reminisce about what it was like early in the relationship.
So what like therapist type?
याद है तुम्हें जब हम कॉलेज में मिले थे once again that's such a fuck all idea because people wanted to divorce were forced together to be together to have a child. Now there's just going to be a resentful couple who hate their child. The child's never going to get love from their parents, so now they have a almost like a mental problem the kid is going to be fucking born with, man.
But mother in China gets another worker. That's what's important.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
Thakur,
what's important.
क्या ये सब psychology?
तेरा आईफोन बनाने के लिए एक और बच्चा है.
No, I also thought that South Korea did something where they encouraged people to go home early one day a month.
Yes.
To have some to have family
baby time.
So this was called
not baby time. It was sex time or something.
This was called. It was called Family Day.
Family Day.
And that day was Wednesday. And the way they used to do it.
Monday.
No.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it was literally hump day.
Wednesday is
फोन पे नसीरुद्दीन शाह आता था बोलता था प्लीज आप आज सेक्स
ये तुमने जो किया वो गलत था.
So basically what they were
Nasir, not Nasir at all.
It's Nasir with Amitabh Bachchan's baby.
तुमने जो कहा वो गलत था. क्या बराबर है नसीर साहब?
It is really not.
Please comment in the chat. Sorry, in the comment section, and let us know if you thought that.
आप नहीं, बाप का बाप है ये.
Please go to Nasiruddin Shah's Instagram.
Hey bro, he's my co-star. I know.
Please send this clip to Nasiruddin Shah on his Instagram.
Because he told me, Varun, तुमने जो कहा वो गलत था. बाप नहीं, बाप का बाप है. हाँ, sorry Kautuk.
Okay. Now we come.
How we went from population to Nasir Saab.
Nasir Saab.
Wednesday.
We come to Estonia. All right. And now here's how Estonia solved this problem very creatively, beautifully. Okay. Now they solved this problem by going like, look, Estonians aren't having sex. No one wants to come to Estonia. How to get people to join Estonia? So they issued e-visas and e-passports. So you can be an e-citizen of Estonia.
E.
Wait. What does this mean?
So how are you having? You get to have sex with Estonians?
Sex baby.
No.
Yeah. What is?
So,
maybe you're going to Estonia.
So basically, what this does is you can by becoming so. One of the reasons you have or need a big population is so that the population can help you economically. So Estonians came to this creative solution going like, why make people in Estonia have sex to get money? Why not just get money from outside? So they started giving these e-citizenships. So what you can do is you can apply to Estonia. Anyone can get this. Okay, apply for it, become an e-citizen of Estonia, and you can then start businesses and stuff like that from an address in Estonia. So you basically get a lot of these perks that
And you will pay tax.
Yeah, the only thing is tax you have to still pay from wherever you are living, but a lot of revenue starts coming to Estonia because of this idea.
So it is Estonia, Ojesh?
Hojesh, 100%.
Estonia.
Estonia. Okay.
Estonia. Huh.
Next we come to Japan. Okay, now Japan has had a crisis to the point where today more adult diapers are being sold in Japan
Yeah.
than regular baby diapers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how bad it's gotten. And now here's some of the more like they've been doing all the regular stuff, but here are some of the more creative ways that they've been doing it. The government of Japan has created a dating, like they're basically doing they're encouraging speed dating. Okay,
Right.
and they're using your data to match you with people. And now they've got an AI involved. तो तेरे आधार कार्ड इन्फॉर्मेशन से तेरे को गवर्नमेंट से मैसेज आता है based on
Wait, Japan के citizens के बाद आधार कार्ड होता है?
I mean the
Why is
Japanese
this happening? How
Matlab,
far
you know, like in spite of having to do all of this shit, they're still killing it everywhere else. ठीक है, तेरा टेक, कल्चर, लाइफस्टाइल, खाना, दारू, पार्टी, तू जो भी बोल, सब कुछ में मगर उसके बाद भी टाइम निकाल के चलो भाई किमियाशी को वागासाशी से मिलाना पड़ेगा.
No, but
तुम्हारा टेबल बुक क्या है इजुमी पे?
जाइए. Kautuk, did you read this in Japan? To encourage couples to have kids, what they started, because working couples didn't want kids. So what they started doing is from a young age, they encouraged them to buy robot babies.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Robot babies, so that you fall in love with the cuteness and you want to, because they had that Japanese also had that game, na, animal ko alive rakhna. Haan. So this way, like with the baby also.
And then they got so used to a robotic baby, they're like, यार ये real इंसान से तो ये baby आएगा नहीं तो नहीं चाहिए. So I think a better tactic by Japanese government should have been to get the Yakuza to put a samurai sword here on people.
चल.
या तो कर अभी का अभी सर मैं करूंगा लेकिन वो ऐसा आप तलवार रखोगे तो होगा नहीं. कर
ये तलवार चलेगा जब तक तू, ये तलवार नहीं चलेगा जब तक तू चलेगा.
So now we now come to that famous Denmark ad. Okay.
Oh yeah.
In 2014, and this was not state sponsored. It was a travel company. Here's what this travel company, the statistics that it found out. They basically found out that Danish people were having 46% more sex when they were on vacation. Okay. And because they were a travel company, they created this particular campaign called Do It for Denmark. They said that Denmark's population is declining. How about, and 46% more sex happens outside. So take our package and you can use an ovulation discount.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, this was based on real evidence because apparently, statistically, 10% of Danish kids were conceived on vacation. Okay. Here's the crazy part. They basically said, come to us with proof that you conceived a kid on one of our vacations and we will pay for all your kids' supplies for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Do it for Denmark.
Also, when you said 46% sex is being had outside, I'm like, who's reporting that? हाँ मैं अभी इंडिया में करके आया तो ये
immigration के time पे पूछते थे.
Okay, so welcome to Denmark. You had sex outside? Yes, it was Australian girl. Okay, cool. Please go ahead. But do you know if you take a package by Kesari Travels Denmark, then they'll pay for your education.
The Maharaj will make you a meal afterwards.
Thomas cooks a bun in the oven. Huh?
Now we come to Russia. All right. Russia has had one of the most Russian responses.
Yes, of course.
I just take my tank, go to her place, and
for every baby, mother gets bottle of vodka.
So here's what they did. In 2008, they declared that September 12th will be called the Day of Conception. All right. Where there would be a special holiday, national holiday. Okay. Where you can go.
Socialist agenda इसमें भी.
क्या चल रहा है public
क्या
का?
करें? Now the question is, why was 12th September so significant? The answer is
Because
It was Rasputin's birthday.
no, because in 9 months it's Vladimir Putin's birthday.
no,
Oh God.
no, close. Basically, in exactly 9 months from September 12th is June 12th. Okay,
Which is-
and
Russia's
That
founding
is-
day.
that is the national day of Russia.
Damn it, which is also Putin's birthday.
No.
So,
After he got elected, उसने birthday change कर दिया. मैं 12th पे हूँ.
so that thing was give birth to a patriot. Okay, now here's how it worked out. Are you ready for this?
They started having kids on 4th of July. What the fuck? You have sex on America Independence Day.
And also, the mothers, whoever decided to participate in Day of Conception, they could also enter a contest. And through a lucky draw or whatever, you could stand to win prizes, which included cash, refrigerators, or SUVs.
Yeah, they gave cars and all, no?
अमर
Yeah,
चला
yeah.
रहा है अपने बच्चे के साथ. Okay, so now here's what happened. 500 women signed up for this contest. Okay, and 9 months later, 78 babies were born. And when all these babies were being born, they were playing the national anthem.
Wow, bro. Bro, this is under the assumption that on the 12th they will have sex and it is so strong
And they will
that
conceive.
they will conceive in the first try. How tough it
And
is,
they-
bro.
and
Public
they all had to
सालों साल try
conceive-
करते रहते हैं.
And they all had to
No.
conceive standing then.
No, didn't have to conceive standing.
They had to
Deliver
give
standing.
अरे नेशनल एंथम बजा रहा है
They
तो
had
खड़ा
to give
रहेगा
birth
तो.
while standing.
Arey, while giving birth, not while.
हाँ sorry. अच्छा
Doing.
हाँ.
So,
अच्छा, I thought they were playing the national anthem. They were having sex.
Oh, you thought the national anthem was an aphrodisiac.
in Russia, it is.
The
And a
Russia-
socialist
Russia.
country.
Okay,
Communist.
now the last one is it combines Denmark and Russia into one unholy combination.
First, you tell me the country.
Okay, before I tell you the country, I will just tell you this. Okay, if you have some time and you want to see something crazy, go to YouTube and type Mentos National Day.
India!
नहीं.
नहीं नहीं.
No, is this like Myanmar or something?
दिमाग की
No,
बत्ती
no.
जला.
This is Singapore. Right?
Singapore.
Oh.
Okay.
And the Singapore government reached out to Mentos. Okay, and they said, make us an ad. Okay,
Oh.
that will promote our population is declining. And this was, by the way, this is not the only thing they did. Apart from everything.
Population is
Please tell
declining.
me-
Sir, क्या करे? Mentos का फोन करो. Sir, वो mint बना दे. Just तू call कर. Trust me. Trust me, Pradeep. Call.
Please,
That
please
is-
tell me they didn't put it in a bunch of bottles of Diet Coke and there's like, देखा ये Coca-Cola जो कर रहा है.
So the what Thakur said was exactly the reasoning. That before
Oh,
people
shit.
get it on, they have a mint so that they smell good when they're this close to another human being. Right? So they
Fair
approached Mentos and they said, make us a ad promoting conception. Okay. Using Mentos and all that. So Mentos made Mentos
So there's a
National Day.
creative director conceiving an ad about conception.
Yes. Yes. And they basically made a rap song.
Wow, what a great aphrodisiac.
It's nuts. Okay. So
भाग 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 आया शेर.
God.
I'm just gonna read you.
That's my divine. Rah!
These are a few lines from that rap song. Singapore's population, it needs some increasing. So forget waving flags. August 9th, we be freaking. I'm a patriotic husband. You're my patriotic wife. Let's do our civic duty and manufacture life.
This was supposed to be in
Wow.
English or has it been translated to English?
It's English. It's in English. So they made a rap song.
चल
for-
गाते गाते. Aadar rap it. चल. Come on. अभी तेरे पास तो प्रॉपर साउंड वाले इन ईयर भी है, नानी के ईयरफोन, तो तेरे को सुनाई भी देगा अच्छे से.
Now,
चल.
apart from that, the Singapore government did one more thing.
हाँ.
What they did is they started putting a limit on the number of 1 BHKs people could buy. Because what was happening was that single people were buying 1 BHKs and then not graduating to 2 BHKs with another person. So to prevent the single people from festering, they said, fuck it, we won't even give you a house.
मतलब इतना क्या है?
बना शादी किसी
It's
के
gone
साथ.
to a level of hatred with like single people festering.
But bro, what I'll tell you is,
that are used for singles now.
but what I'll tell you is, blindly follow anything that Singapore does, because if you just look at what Singapore was to what it is right now, तो चलो भाई मेंटोस को फोन करो, ठीक है?
हाँ, पता नहीं हम लोग शंघाई के पीछे क्यों बन रहे हैं. हाँ, मुंबई को शंघाई बनाने का है. Just follow the Singapore model. हाँ.
Just want to say, when will this episode air? But oh yeah, it won't air in time. But thank you for coming to my Singapore show. If you did,
बन रहेगा तो क्या बोल रहे हैं बाबा? कैसे गया शो? अच्छा गया?
अच्छा गया. अजीम और मेरे को दोनों को बहुत मजा आया. ऑडियंस भी अच्छा था. इट वाज ग्रेट.
ऑडियंस अच्छा उधर का.
फिर उसके बाद मैं रेड हॉट चिली पेपर्स देखा, वो बहुत बैंगिंग था.
बाबा टेनेट कर रहे हैं इधर.
ब्रो बाबा ये करते हैं, पूरा एंट्रोपी चेंज करते हैं. एक काम कर, तू अभी डिसाइड कर कि तू तभी सिंगापुर का बच्चा बनाने वाला गाना गाएगा, और तेरा तूने ऑलरेडी गा के ये शो अच्छा हो गया है,
या
समझा? ये शो अपन 9 तारीख को कर रहे, तेरा शो 15 तारीख को है, ये एपिसोड आएगा 21 तारीख को. तो तू अभी डिसाइड कर कि तू तभी गाना गा दिया है, वो गाना गा के पब्लिक जो अभी देख रही है उसको लगता है तूने ऑलरेडी कर दिया है, लेकिन ये 21 को आएगा.
और तू गाना बैकवर्ड्स गा.
हाँ बाबा, इट्स वेरी सिंपल टू अंडरस्टैंड. यार
Come on.
I've not understood.
Looking like an average
सॉर्किन 2
Nolan
सेकंड
watcher.
में करके देता है. सॉर्किन 2 सेकंड में करके देता है.
Yes and बाबा, yes and. कौतुक लिरिक्स बोल.
I understand. I'm yes ending, but I'm still trying to understand how I am doing this for the thing that I've already done. Therefore, I've not done what I'm doing.
Please explain in the comments to Baba what Varun meant and what Baba has not understood.
Is it a tenet joke that I've not understood?
No.
Okay, so that's it from this episode of the Internet Said So. We were discussing population. The only thing we are happy about the population being so high is that we get more views, which reminds us, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, share it with people you know, share it with your family groups, WhatsApp group, Facebook group, and if you're still on High Five, then even that group.
And make sure you share it with your patriotic husband or patriotic wife.
Yeah, please do that.
And together you can enjoy life. What I was saying was,
make life.
but if you are sharing this with your husband and wife, then anyway.
Actually,
don't share this to make life. That's not an aphrodisiac.
If you
it is, let us know.
If
You play this in the background while doing
Yes.
all household chores, but don't use this.
That's not
Yeah.
a chore,
Recommend.
no other.
But that being said, if you have conceived ever listening to an episode of the Internet Said So, or right after, please let us
नीचे
know,
लिखो.
and we'll give you 3 years of more podcasts. You will get it one day before in your inbox. So let us know who all have conceived.
मैं वो G drive का link share करेगा क्या?
सीधा इधर आप डालने के पहले सीधा उनको भेजेंगे.
you think someone
You will be free Patreon.
you think someone timed it to Varun saying "Balbolo!"
Or hello, welcome to the show we did.
Nope.
You can't do it.
Also, one sec. More importantly, hey, Kautuk, where are you on the 19th of March, Ray?
Oh, I think I'm outside the country. Are you also outside the country?
I am in Toronto. So, guys,
What a coincidence.
if you are in Toronto on the 19th of March, Kautuk and I are doing shows, doing a show in Toronto. We will not be doing Vancouver or anything else. We will only be doing Toronto. If we sell out, we will do a second show in Toronto. And on the 11th and 12th of March, we're doing shows in Bombay. Tickets are in the description or on our handles. So thank you so much.
Also, pro tip, don't call it Toronto, it's Toronto.
वो नहीं होएगा मेरे से.
It's Toronto.
I will try to learn to say Toronto.
Toronto. T-R-O-N-O बोल.
How would you like it? How would you like it if everybody calls you Baba? Toronto.
Which they do.
Also,
Yeah,
sorry, one last thing I want to plug. As usual, Secondhand Stories has started. I'm going to be recording stories live. So if you enjoy stories that are told live, this is happening online over Zoom. You can become a member of my channel and come for those. Okay, done.
Yeah. And my tour is anyway on. It's going to be on till end of March. So ticket le lo, aa jao. That's it from this episode of the Internet Set. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys again next week. Until then, bye bye, tata, take care, good night, salami, shabba khair, bye bye.
Wait.
अबे
Aadar,
आदर
we can't hear
तेरा
you.
आ रहा है आवाज ही नहीं आ रहा है तू क्या साइलेंट
Aadar,
रैप कर रहा है
Aadar, I think
mute हो गया।
your mic is not good with blows. So it's cutting
Hello.
out blow.
Hello,
Oh,
check.
shit.
अभी echo हो रहा है.
हेलो हेलो
ऑप्शन है उसका।
तो नोटिस किया इंडिया में कोई भी माइक चेक करता हेलो हेलो
हेलो 1 2 चेक 1 2
हेलो चल
1
कम ऑन रेडी
check 1
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Singapore's population needs some increasing.
So forget waving flags. August 9th, we be freaking.
Patriotic husband, you're my patriotic wife. Let's do a civic duty manufacture life.
life manufacture life of life manufacture life
Neville, you better come in with something.
Don't forget to eat a Mentos.
ये पूरा
ये
कट करना
क्या है ना,
पड़ेगा शायद
brand-
अपने को